Hey everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood math professor, Roger. In this video, I wanted to explain to you how the grading is going to work in our 5B class this semester. So basically, what's going to happen is that I'm going to share individually with each of you a Google Doc that has your grade information. So um, how am I going to share it with you? Well, I'm going to click the share button and I'm going to type in your email address. And your email address will be your go.pasadena.edu email address. So if you wanted to find it, you'd go log into your Gmail, your Google account with the PCC email, and then it would be under the shared with me tab. So let me actually show you real quick. Let me open up a tab here. Let's go to my drive. I think if you click on this shared with me, um, you know, these are all the different things that I shared with you, and I'm going to share your grade card with you. So that's kind of how that's going to work. Okay. So, how does this wacky grading system work? Well, I told you in a previous video that I really believe in this idea of a growth mindset, and I kind of want to build space for you to learn from your mistakes. Uh, if you're like me, you learn more from your screw ups than you do from your successes. So if you don't pass, you know, a standard on your first try, I mean, I would take a moment to kind of feel bad for yourself. Like it's important to kind of let those feelings pass through you. I wouldn't be in denial. I wouldn't be like, oh man, blah, 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 create all these excuses, just acknowledge the fact you don't know it well enough to pass at the present moment and then work to improve. And basically, in this course, you can have 3 attempts for each standard. And if you pass a standard, let's say we're testing this T1 standard right here. This T1 standard is actually tested on 3 separate tests. So let's say you take test 1 and you pass it. What I would do is I would mark it green. Let's say you took test 2 and you pass the exponential and logs part. So it's labeled that green, but then you didn't pass the logarithmic differentiation part. And you label that yellow. Okay. And then you take the third test and you pass all 3 parts. So you got pass here, you got to pass here, and you got to pass here. Great. So what does that mean? Well, if you look at this, to me, this means you've passed 2 of the 3 standards. So you've passed this first standard here, the second standard, T2, you've passed T3 here, but you did not pass T1. So for T1, you got a yellow. All 3 of these need to be green in order for you to pass this standard. So what does that mean for your overall grade? Well, if you want to get an A, you have to master all 3 standards here. So right now, the most you can get is a B. Now you can retest this standard. So if you retested it and you failed a second time, well, then I would label it orange. This means you still have 1 more attempt. So let's just pretend for the sake of this that you did not pass on your third attempt. On your third attempt, then you would label that to be red. And now, no matter how you do on the rest of the standards, the best you could do is to get a B. So, of course, if you come to class on time every day, I would allow you a fourth attempt on 1 test. So you probably use it on this one, and then let's just say you did that, and then now it's green. So now you're still in line for an A. Okay. Um, there's certain modules where you're allowed to miss a standard and still get an A. So for the integration technique standard, you can miss 1 standard and still get an A. For the series and sequences. This should actually include power series. Let me fix that right now. And power series. You could still miss one standard and get an A. And for the last module, the parametric equations and polar coordinates, those you could still miss a standard and get an A. So you'll see that some of the rows have multiple boxes. That means you have to test it, pass it multiple times in order to pass the standard. So these integration techniques are considered to be pretty important and central to the course. So I need you to pass it twice, once on the test and once on the final. Okay. There's some power series stuff. I need you to pass it once on the test and once on the final. Okay. Everything else is basically just test. You just got to pass the standard on the test. There is one standard I would like to give special attention to. That standard is the PPP standard. So that should be a PPP. And homework is basically worth 75% of this standard. And class notes is basically 25% of the standard. Okay. So earlier I had mentioned there was extra credit for the course. The extra credit really is just for this PPP standard. So that extra credit would affect this standard. If you get 90 and above on homework and class notes, qualify for an A. 80 and above is a B. 70 and above is a C. How do I know what my percentage is? Well, that's what your Canvas grade here is for. So if you went to grades, it would have your overall grade, and that overall grade is what we're looking at for this PPP standard. At the end of the course, I will put a letter grade in this final grade box. Each time I update your grade card, I'll put the date over here to let you know when I last updated it. And that's basically it. So just to reiterate, your grade is based on what you know. So if you want to get a good grade, you kind of need to master everything. Each standard is basically pass fail, and you have up to 3 attempts for each standard. All right, everybody, take care.